We've all heard the story of the first sin, right? But what if the first response wasn't just about judgment? Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating thought experiment. What if the story of the fall is also, right from that very first moment, a story of incredible hope?
Just picture the scene for a second. That perfect relationship with God is shattered. Adam and Eve are hiding, totally overwhelmed with shame. So what would that first conversation have actually looked like if they came face to face not just with God the Father, but with Jesus the Son? The first thing we have to wrap our minds around is the sheer emotional weight of this moment for Jesus himself. As the one who was destined to be the Redeemer, he would have felt the crushing reality of the cross rushing toward him through time. This wasn't just some broken rule. It was a deep, personal wound. It was the very act that made his own future sacrifice absolutely necessary. So, to really get a handle on how this encounter might have played out, we can break Jesus' response down into three distinct but completely interwoven tones. He would have been the truth teller, the judge, and this is the most surprising part, the Redeemer, all in the very same conversation. All right, so where does this all kick off? Well, the first tone is a direct, unavoidable confrontation with the truth.
See, when Jesus steps in as the truth teller, he's not looking for information. Come on, he already knows exactly what happened. This is all about compelling them to face what they've done, to finally take responsibility for their choice.
That question, Adam, where are you? It's not a physical one. It's spiritual, it's moral. It's designed to force Adam out of hiding, not just from behind some trees, but from behind his own excuses, and to make him stand in the light of his own decision. So after that confrontation with truth, naturally comes the declaration of consequence. This is where Jesus, now in the role of judge, lays out the new, broken reality that humanity has just chosen for itself. And let's be clear, these consequences aren't just random punishments. They're the direct, logical outcomes of separating yourself from the source of all life. Jesus isn't just handing down a sentence. He's explaining the new, fractured rules of the world they've just created. And wow, those consequences were severe, and they touched everything. The serpent, the one who started it all, is cursed. Pain now enters the beautiful process of creating new life. The very ground that man came from would now fight against him. And then, finally, expulsion, a painful but necessary separation to stop humanity from living forever in this broken state. But then, right here, in this moment of what seems like absolute darkness and judgment, the tone just completely shifts. It's amazing. Woven directly into the consequence for the serpent is this incredible, totally unexpected unveiling of hope. This single verse, aimed right at the serpent, is what theologians call the proto-evangelium, which literally means the very first gospel. In humanity's absolute darkest hour, Jesus provides the first ever glimpse of redemption. He's already pointing to the solution to a future victory over the very evil that has just crashed into the world. Let's break this down, because it's so important. The offspring of the woman, that's Jesus himself, will suffer a wound, a bruised heel. This points to the cross, a terribly painful but ultimately temporary sacrifice. But in that very act, he's going to deliver a fatal blow to the serpent, a crushed head, which signifies an eternal and ultimate victory over evil. And then Jesus does something that's just so profound. He gives them a tangible symbol of this promise. To cover their shame, he makes them garments of skin, which means for the very first time, an innocent life had to be sacrificed. It's a physical foreshadowing of the ultimate sacrifice he would one day make to truly cover their sin. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's this powerful fusion of two ideas we usually think of as totally separate: justice and grace. From the very first sin, the consequence and the cure were announced in the exact same breath. The judgment on evil held within it the promise of its own defeat. The act of being sent away was paired with the promise of being covered. In Jesus, you see, justice and mercy aren't at war with each other. They are perfectly and immediately intertwined. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If this pattern of judgment and grace was woven together right from the very beginning, how does that change the way we understand everything that comes after? It's a lens that reframes the entire narrative right from page 1.